Welcome to NFL Live. We're in the heart of training camp. We have a packed show for you, including Jason McCourty and Peter Schrager live from Giants camp with the latest on Malik Neighbors and much more. And down the road in Philly, they got a key player back on the practice field. We'll update you on that. Plus, wait till you hear what Nick Sirianni had to say about Jalen Hurts adjusting to the new offense. And the Niners got good news about Kyle Shanahan, but stick around to hear why we're still concerned about San Francisco's off-season injuries. Hello to Field Yates and Dan Graziano. I'm Michelle Smallman. Guys, let's have some fun today.
Let's do it, Smalls.
Well, new on NFL Live, we have an update on Micah Parsons, not so fun, returning from ACL injury after he was asked if he could return Week 6 against the Cowboys on NFL Network today.
That's the most optimistic that I can be back.
Yeah.
But of course, I can be later. There can be setbacks.
Yeah.
There can be
Sure.
Trying to integrate back to football is completely different than running on cones and ladders in the indoor, which I'm obviously just finished doing before I do my lift.
Graz, it sounds like no Micah for the Packers Week 5 against the Bears, and he didn't sound all that confident that he'll be there for that Cowboys game Week 6 either. So what's Green Bay's plan for the defense in his absence?
Yeah, Michelle, the Packers have a strict rule that they will not permit football activity within the first 9 months following the surgery that Micah Parsons had in late December. So that means no football activity at all till after Week 3. So yeah, can he get ready in 3 weeks to face the Cowboys? I'm sure he'd love to, but there's no guarantees. So in the meantime, Lucas Van Ness is their top edge rusher. Baron Sorrell, who was a 4th-round pick in 2025, they're going to count on him. Brenton Cox was a player they liked a lot heading into 2025. He got hurt early in the season, missed most of the year. He's back healthy. So it really is going to be about mixing and matching for Jonathan Gannon, their new defensive coordinator. It's going to be about finding ways to create and simulate pressures, trick teams, because you're not going to have that monster edge rusher that you need to just beat tackles one-on-one until Micah gets back to full strength.
Graz, obviously Myles Garrett was the runaway defensive player of the year last year, but Micah Parsons was about as good of a second-place finisher as you could possibly find in an NFL season. And there are times in which you can quantify the value of Micah Parsons from just watching the game, seeing some of the statistics. You could also understand the value of Micah Parsons when he wasn't on the field last year because, Michelle, this Green Bay defense had this gigantic hole. They were an entirely different unit without Micah Parsons on the field at the end of last season. There is gigantic pressure on all the names that Graz mentioned for the first 5, maybe 6, or however many weeks it is until Micah Parsons returns. And while Graz is right, the Packers have been amongst the most conservative medical staffs in the NFL forever. There is a part of me that just feels like Micah Parsons might find enough motivation, adrenaline, and strength in that torn ACL to be ready for that Cowboys game in Week 6. The Packers, of course, playing host to the Cowboys in that game. Just a little bit of a chip on the shoulder of Micah Parsons to perhaps prove Jerry Jones wrong, and maybe you shouldn't have traded me for that multiple pick package.
Well, the Packers are certainly hoping, Field, that you're right because they are a different team without him. They lost their final 5 games of the season last year without Micah Parsons, including, of course, blowing 2 double-digit leads versus the Bears. Not ideal for the Packers. And now on to Washington, where left tackle Laramie Tunsil is set to have surgery on a torn triceps and is expected to miss significant time. Head coach Dan Quinn talked about how big of a blow it is to lose Tunsil today.
I think it's the on-field portion speaks for itself. This is a great player. The off-field portion is also significant, and just because of his connection, with his teammates and how he interacts with them. So, like I said, on and off the field, this is significant for us. He's in fantastic shape. He is really on the top of his game right now. So, both in the run and pass, this is an equally strong player, and so it's a big deal.
As a 5-time Pro Bowler, the Commanders will certainly miss Tunsil, but it's notable how much they fell off without him last season. Washington averaged about a yard fewer per rush when Tunsil was off the field last season, and nearly 2 fewer yards per rush when running to the left side. And he's been durable too, guys. Tunsil has only missed 6 games over the previous 4 seasons. So, Field, not only is this going to impact the run game, but also the protection, of course, for Jaden Daniels. So how big of a problem is this for the Commanders?
You can't make a player the highest paid left tackle ever, and then a few months later realize you're going to be without him for potentially the entire season and not feel a major blow, Michelle. This is perhaps the most indispensable player on the roster, not named Jaden Daniels himself. And it's going to be Brandon Coleman who gets the first crack to step up into this role replacing Laramie Tunsil. there's going to be a drop-off. And I think it's important to note that, of course, Jaden Daniels' season was impacted by injury last year, and the Commanders' season followed suit as well. On top of that, while quarterbacks that are mobile, to the degree that Jaden Daniels is mobile, can avoid sacks at a very unique level, it also can make the job of an offensive tackle a little trickier at times. You know, when you're protecting for a guy like a Jared Goff, a Matthew Stafford, a Kirk Cousins, who operates exclusively from within the pocket, you kind of know the parameters of where your quarterback is going to be. Stepping in to protect for Jaden Daniels means potentially having to protect, reset the pocket, and protect. Again, it's a unique challenge here for Brandon Coleman. This is a massive, massive loss for this Commanders offense.
And Gross Field mentioned Brandon Coleman right there. Are there any plans for Washington to bring in some more help along that offensive line?
Not as of now, no. They want to see how Brandon Coleman does. The benefit of this happening now is they have a month till the season starts. So if Brandon Coleman goes out there and looks lost and gets overwhelmed, they have the ability to see who else is out there. Taylor Decker is a guy that's played in a system like the one Washington wants to run. He's still out there as a free agent. Of course, people will get released as training camp goes on. But right now they want to get Brandon Coleman was the starter at that position for the bulk of Jaden Daniels' rookie season. That was a good season for the Commanders. Now, of course, they made the decision right after it to go trade for Laramie Tunsil. But Dan Quinn, you heard him make the point about the kind of teammate Laramie Tunsil is, the kind of leader. Brandon Coleman's been around him for the last year and a half, and if he has improved as a result of that, you could see a very competent player in that spot for Washington this year.
Well, to emphasize that point on what they're going to miss, Laramie Tunsil only allowed 1 sack over his last 9 games played last season.
Tough one here.
Absolutely. Well, let's get to some more top stories. Gross, start us off with Hunter Henry getting paid.
Patriots tight end Hunter Henry gets a 2-year extension. Our Adam Schefter reporting that the deal is worth at least $16 million, could get up to $20 million. So the Patriots rewarding Hunter Henry, who has certainly found a home there and may well end up being there in New England for the remainder of his career. Second-year wide receiver Luther Burden of the Chicago Bears has a groin injury he sustained in Saturday's practice. We're being told this is a multiple-week injury for Luther Burden, but at this time, the Bears believe he will be back in time for Week 1. May not be able to participate the rest of camp with a preseason, but they believe he'll be ready Week 1. Not such good news on Lions center Cade Mays, who has a wrist injury that is going to be a multiple-month injury. This is going to be something that keeps him out for likely the entire first half of the season. Detroit believes he will be back at some point in the year, but they're going to have to start the season without him and play a significant portion of it with a different guy at center. Injuries in Detroit's camp have been a big story so far, and it's not been good news.
Well, in Field, with Mays being out the first half, how big of a loss is this for the Lions and the protection for Jared Goff?
All right, so good news here for the Lions. They have an incredibly favorable schedule this year. Optimistic that this team can take advantage of it. Let's also talk about the reality with Jared Goff. An awesome player. It's especially awesome, though, when he's protected. There are 36 quarterbacks that had at least 200 passing attempts last season, Michelle. Look at where Jared Goff ranks in 3 important categories when pressured. 33rd, 33rd, and 29th out of 36 quarterbacks. He's not a mobile quarterback. He needs to have a clean pocket. Cade Mays is not the best offensive lineman on this Detroit Lions roster, but they paid him real money this offseason to stabilize the middle of that offensive line. He's kind of the control panel, the command center, if you will, doing things pre-snap, setting protections. It's a notable loss here for Detroit. They've got the next month to figure out how they're going to account for his absence at the beginning of the season. But Jared Goff and the offensive line around him work in tandem more so than just about any other starting quarterback in the NFL.
Not great for the Lions, who are hoping to have a bounce-back season and get atop the NFC North yet again. Well, we are just getting started here on NFL Live. Peter and J-Mac are live from Giants training camp, and all eyes are on Malik Nabers, as someone here thinks Nabers' health will make or break this offense. Find out who. Plus, Larry Fitzgerald was inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame this weekend, and we reflect on